picture this. It is Thursday, April 16th, 2026.
Okay, I'm with you.
And you're walking down this narrow, subtly curved street in Kyoto. The air is heavy. It's carrying that really distinct, layered scent of like wet pavement, incoming rain, and just a faint trace of burning sandalwood incense from a temple nearby.
Oh, that is such a specific vibe.
Right. And if you look to your left, you see a centuries-old wooden mashiya-like, one of those traditional townhouses with a dark slatted facade.
Yeah, gorgeous architecture.
Beautiful. But then you turn to your right, and your eyes are just immediately hit by the clinical neon glare of a high-tech vending machine.
Yeah.
Selling, hot canned coffee and energy drinks.
Such a classic Japanese contrast.
It really is. It makes for a striking photograph, but, you are not here for a standard tourist guide. You are here for a travelogue of the occult.
I love that, because the visual of that street, the wood and the neon, it perfectly captures the duality we're dealing with today. Because the city surrounding you isn't merely like a passive collection of historical preservation and modern convenience. To truly understand Kyoto, you have to view it as a living, breathing apparatus.
So over our last two deep dives, we've traced the life of Abe no Seimei. We watched him operate as a brilliant historical scientist, the ultimate Yin-Yang Master, or Onmyoji, of ancient Japan.
Right, the imperial astronomer.
Yes, and then we watched the mythology take over, right?
Yeah.
Transforming him into this legendary magic-wielding fox spirit. But today, in the culmination of this three-part journey, we have a very specific mission.
We are going to decode the underlying vibe of Kyoto.
Exactly. We're looking at it not as just an urban center, but as a spiritually engineered machine. One that was deliberately designed and coded by Seimei himself.
And putting on my sociologist hat for a second, the sheer endurance of this machine is just staggering. I mean, we are navigating a modern era defined by artificial intelligence, right? Global data networks, algorithmic living.
Yeah, we live on our phones.
We do. Yet this 1,000-year-old mystical infrastructure hasn't been relegated to a museum. It is an active utility. It's being used practically and daily by the people living in those wooden townhouses and, buying coffee from those high-tech vending machines.
It's wild to think about.
It functions as this layer of metaphysical reality that's superimposed seamlessly over the modern urban grid.
So to understand the mechanics of any large-scale machine, you really have to locate its power source.
Right. You need the battery.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's walk away from that vending machine and head toward the epicenter of this spiritual grid. And that is Seimei Shrine. Built in 1007 AD, sitting on the precise geographic footprint of Seimei's former home.
Which operates as the spiritual battery for the entire city.
Yeah.
The architecture itself isn't merely decorative there, it is deeply functional. It communicates a mechanical purpose through its geometry.
The sensory experience of walking into the shrine is almost overwhelming because of that geometry. You are immediately surrounded by what is best described as, pentagram architecture.
Oh, they are everywhere.
The Seimei Kiki, that iconic five-pointed star, is just ubiquitous. It's painted on the paper lanterns. It is literally baked into the clay roof tiles.
Carved deep into the stone torii gates.
Yes. You feel less like you are entering a place of worship and more like you are stepping into the center of a massive ancient circuit board.
Well, the pentagram in Onmyoji represents the 5 Chinese elements, right? Wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. Crucially, it symbolizes perfect, continuous balance.
An unbroken line.
Exactly, an unbroken line, closed loop of energy. When you geometrically enclose a space with that symbol, you are essentially establishing a containment field.
Like a spiritual firewall.
Yes, you are creating a controlled environment where the chaotic variables of the outside world are just neutralized.
And inside that containment field, the interfaces are incredibly tactile. Like take the Yakuyoku no Nono, the peach statue.
Oh, the bronze peach.
Yeah, it's this large bronze fruit resting on a stone pedestal. And thousands of visitors go out of their way to physically lay their hands on it.
Because in the Onmyoji tradition, peaches are considered devil-expelling items.
Right. And what strikes you is the visual evidence of this belief. The bronze has been rubbed by so many human hands that the patina has completely worn away.
It's just shining metal now.
Gleaming and polished. The underlying belief is that by touching it, you are physically transferring your negative energy, your evil quite, out of your body and into the statue. It acts as a sponge.
If we break down the psychology behind that action, it is a brilliant example of somatic therapy disguised as mysticism.
How so?
Well, the human brain struggles immensely with abstract stressors, things like bad luck, chronic anxiety, or negative energy. They're formless, invisible threats.
And we don't know how to fight what we can't see.
Exactly. Our evolutionary hardware doesn't know how to punch an invisible enemy. We possess a deep-seated need to materialize our anxieties. So by providing a physical, dense object that you can actively touch, the shrine offers a psychological release valve.
That makes total sense.
You rub the cold, smooth metal of the bronze peach, and you engage in the physical act of unburdening. The magic is effective because the psychological relief, that cognitive offloading, is a genuine physiological event.
You're giving the anxiety a physical destination.
Precisely.
But the shrine also features a much more dynamic mechanism, the Seimei, the magical well.
Oh, this is fascinating.
The lore claims Seimei summoned this water from the earth using pure spiritual force. But the physical design of the well is what really catches the eye. The spout where the water flows out is not a fixed piece of stone.
Right, it moves.
It is a separate mechanism that is physically rotated every single year to point toward that specific year's lucky direction based on the astrological calendar.
It highlights a highly mechanical, almost industrial approach to maintaining spiritual efficacy.
Yeah.
I mean, the environment isn't static. Therefore, the tools to manage it cannot be static either.
It functions like a massive physical astrolabe, or like the calibration dial on a complex instrument.
Yeah.
The year changes, the cosmic alignment shifts, and the shrine priests act as the system engineers. They walk out to the well to physically turn the dial.
They are literally updating the city software to ensure the containment field stays properly aligned.
Which naturally pushes us to examine the modern user experience. If the shrine is this ever-updating spiritual battery, how do people in our current technological landscape plug into it?
Because the context of human life has transformed entirely since the Heian period.
Right. I mean, we certainly aren't navigating the city worried about a curse being placed on our ox cart.
No, definitely not. But the baseline human anxieties haven't vanished. They've merely migrated to new platforms.
Sure.
This is where the sociology of belief systems reveals its adaptability. Consider that magical well with the rotating spout. A modern practice has emerged around it. Visitors approach the well, but they aren't just drinking the water for internal purification anymore.
No, I saw this. They collect a few drops on their fingertips and deliberately use it to wipe down the glass screens of their smartphones. So they are taking water drawn from an 11th century magical well to sanitize the hardware of a 21st century communication device.
They are attempting to scrub bad data.
They are performing a ritual to cleanse their devices of what are essentially digital curses.
It's brilliant.
Let's examine the mechanics of a digital curse, because the concept sounds almost paradoxical at first.
Well, think about the nature of the malice we encounter today. The unseen threat is no longer a localized demon hiding in a bamboo grove on the edge of town.
Right, it's an internet troll.
Exactly. It's an anonymous internet troll. It is a sudden vitriolic email from a toxic boss. It is a wave of coordinated cyberbullying on social media.
Wow.
The fundamental experience of unseen malice remains identical to our ancestors' experiences. It just arrives via a 5G network instead of a supernatural wind.
But our nervous systems react the exact same way.
Yes! We still perceive it as an invisible, invasive threat. Using the well water to wipe the screen is a way to sanitize the literal portal through which that modern malice enters our lives.
And the defense mechanisms go even further than a screen wipe. There is a specific anti-curse ritual called Noroi Koshi. People are actively using the kujikiri, the highly complex interlocking hand gestures that Seimei utilized. They're using them to combat online harassment.
The sociology of this is deeply rooted in reclaiming agency. When a modern individual feels overwhelmed by the targeted negativity pouring out of their phone, traditional IT support offers zero emotional protection.
I mean, you cannot call Apple to fix a broken sense of psychological safety.
No, you can't. But leaning on Ebno Seimei offers a framework. Performing those ancient hand gestures serves as a physical mechanism to reclaim control.
It is essentially metaphysical cybersecurity.
Yes.
By performing the gesture, you are closing the stress cycle that the cyberbullying opened. You literally hit return to sender on the digital hate, establishing a psychological firewall.
And humans desperately need firewalls, both digital and physical, because our evolutionary hardware still craves borders and boundaries to feel safe.
But borders are critical, and they are also inherently fragile.
Very fragile.
If we leave the immediate perimeter of the Seimei Shrine, like the safe zone, The atmosphere of the city begins to shift.
You can feel it.
You really can.
Yeah.
Let's take a walk just a few blocks away, toward the edge of Seimei's traditional domain. The air here feels denser. The modern noise seems to sort of thin out, and the spiritual firewall we just talked about starts to show its seams. We're arriving at the Ichiji Motoribashi Bridge.
Oh man, this is perhaps the most notorious liminal space in all of Kyoto.
For those who recall the lore from our previous deep dives, liminal spaces are the thresholds. They're the borders between the living and the dead. The Motoribashi Bridge is where Seimei allegedly hid his Shikigami.
Those invisible spirit servants.
Right, he stationed them under the bridge to act as an ancient, supernatural CCTV network, monitoring everything that crossed the border into the capital.
From a sociological standpoint, borders are universally treated with suspicion. A bridge belongs to neither one side of the river nor the other.
It's in between.
It is a place of transition, and transition implies vulnerability. Throughout human history, crossroads and bridges have been mapped as hotspots for the supernatural precisely because they defy categorization. The human brain relies on clear categories to feel secure.
And the residents of Kyoto still respect the danger of that undefined space.
Oh, absolutely.
To this day, strict traditional families maintain a rigid taboo. A wedding party or a funeral procession is absolutely forbidden from crossing the Motoribashi Bridge.
The fear isn't even necessarily about the Shikigami themselves. It is anchored in the linguistics of the bridge's name.
Right. Modori literally translates to return.
Yes. And the prevailing belief is that if a bride crosses this bridge in her wedding dress, the marriage will return, meaning it will unravel and end in divorce.
And if a funeral procession crosses it,
the spirit of the deceased will return to the world of the living as a ghost. It's a textbook example of sympathetic magic. Specifically, the principle where humans conflate a symbol or a word with the physical reality it represents. We see this cognitive bias across various cultures.
so the word becomes the reality.
Yes. The brain creates an associative link. The word return is physically attached to the stone of the bridge. Therefore, the bridge possesses the active power to force a return onto whatever vulnerable transitional event passes over it. It is a belief that language can enforce its literal meaning onto the physical world.